Just Inform, our community networking and news platform, where you will get all the benefits of Facebook, Twitter, like all the engagement interaction. However, this platform is intended to do two things: amplify your personal voice and your personal brand. If maybe you're an independent journalist, you're an independent creative artist, you're an independent producer, independent, fashion blogger, we're giving you the opportunity to actually build your brand without you having to deal with being suppressed by the major media conglomerates that have already invested in Twitter, Facebook, and all the competition. And it also gives you unlimited access to, but by limited I mean as in, or unlimited I mean, don't you're not going to be affected by these ridiculous levels of algorithms that are targeting words, targeting uh, uh, commentary, targeting people, targeting political ideology. You'll be free from that and able to actually, you won't be stuck in an echo chamber, if you will. So yeah, you will have your own friends and you'll have like your friend list, and you can even create your own groups. However, it when we're talking about, so everybody's going to be able to be a blogger, if you will. Everyone's articles has an opportunity to be seen on the main like discovery page, which is pretty awesome because I know there's a lot of talent out there. The only priority that there will be given will be verified journalists, which you'll see a gold star by their name. But outside of that, their algorithms only determine the order of the journalists or the order of the blogs by most recent blog posted, um, the most popular blog posted, and then blogs written by independent journalists that are verified. So you'll actually not be stuck in an echo chamber, whether it's a conservative, a progressive, unfortunately, even neoliberals, as long as they're talking about facts. Um, you'll have to actually think critically based off of the information provided and the twists that each side gives you. But putting all these different styles of writing and different ideologies in one place, what we hope to see is kind of change the culture of vanity that Facebook and Twitter and even Instagram to a degree has perpetuated, and force people to start thinking, force people to start being able to pick out facts from fiction, give people the ability to be seen, whether or not they're on a huge, like a CNN or ESPN or working for Vogue. We feel like if everybody had that opportunity, then our world would be drastically different, because then those multimedia conglomerates would have to then be they would have to then step up their game, and they would have to compete against your uniqueness, your authenticity, and just authenticity that is actually spread across a bunch of different individual popular brands, versus them they're I just want to, pop culture, a Cosmo just competing with Vogue. There's not a lot of competition there. They have to legitimately compete with like 3 or 4 magazines. But imagine if you could have your own fashion brand, like, or CNN competing with MSNBC and competing with Fox. Imagine if they had to compete with all of us, because of this platform, because of the viewership that you could gain from this platform and the catapult that this platform can send you into. So, nobody gets special privileges actually when it comes to the verification process. Just because you're a journalist on CNN, that's actually not what it means to be a verified journalist, believe it or not. Verified means that you have a history of reporting fact-based news. You can report your opinion, but it has to, your news is fact-based. Your information is for the most part accurate. And that you're not just spewing propaganda, writing salacious articles that are simply built to attack people and not issues, things like that. Otherwise, we wouldn't validate you, because that means you're just another propagandist. And it's going to be a rigorous process to become a verified journalist. I'm not going to lie, but it'll be worth it, because that way you'll know, like, at the end of the day, whether or not they're on the left or the right, they're at least they passed a process that was rigorous enough that their work has to include fact. And then at that point, we'll let you be the judge. So now that we have everybody here, speaking of the left and the right, Orthodium said no flowery shirts. What do you mean? There's a flower on my pocket. Oh, actually, no, they're not flowers. I lied. My apologies. No, so not today. No flower shirts today. Because it's not May. You know, April showers bring May flowers. So we got like 3 more days and it's all flower shirts from here on out, I promise. But yesterday, Kanye West got into a heap of trouble with the Twitter world and the neoliberal world, and even in the actual progressive world. Not so much with conservatives, though. Conservatives were giving him a high five. They were. But Kanye West tweeted himself in a hat that says, "Make America Great Again," and apparently he even got it signed. People were upset by this. Viscerally, I could see even myself, like, what the hell? Kanye, come on, bro. You gotta give me at least a reason. And then, I mean, just to make a long story very short, I don't go to Kanye West for political commentary. I don't go to Kanye West for public policy analysis. I don't even go to Kanye West to be updated on modern, like, Kanye doesn't tweet. Now, just a little history about Kanye, by the way. People call him an egotist. They say he's always looking for attention no matter how he can get it. As a person, by the way, who followed Kanye and I was forced to unfollow him by Twitter, just to clarify. Not only myself, but a lot of people. You're not losing 9 million followers from a tweet, people. I'm sorry. It doesn't happen. That was done, in my opinion, on purpose by Twitter. I had a bunch of ghost unfollows yesterday, and one of my, literally, like, a person who works with one of my colleagues, and we're always interacting with each other, was forced to unfollow me yesterday, and I tweeted at him saying, "Hey, did you know you don't follow me anymore?" And obviously we reconciled it. So I don't believe that 9 million people actually unfollowed Kanye. Some people say it's the Make America Great, and they say, oh, he's an egotist, and that's why, people are upset at him. And I'm like, except for 2 things. You call him an attention whore. Kanye rarely, if ever, tweets. Very, very rarely does he tweet. He tweets when he has a big project coming out. He tweets maybe right after an award show. But he doesn't tweet. You consider Kanye an attention whore, and yet, when do you see Kanye avoids paparazzi? He's not looking for every opportunity that he can to get exposure. He doesn't really need it. It's Kanye. He also has mental lapses because people say a lot of different diagnoses. I actually think he has ADHD, and I think he has a heightened, very, very much so heightened sensitivity to be angry, because people with ADHD we have fits of anger, like, especially when the older we get, like, the more we feel things that are out of our control. If you feel like you're being cheated because you're an empath, or you see someone else being cheated, you have a lot of anger problems. ADHD actually is a huge cause of a lot of relationships ending. People with ADHD run through relationships because they just have the tendency to take everything personally. Kanye West clearly is not exempt from that. If you know Kanye, he does take things very personally. And when someone reaches out to him, or if he's been friends with somebody, he's also a very loyal person, probably to a fault. So the attacks on his mental stability or whatever, he's a normal person who has ADHD, or he even takes Lexapro. He even said in one of his songs, "You ain't never seen nothing crazier than him when he's off of his Lexapro," and that's true. But I think that Kanye had. I mean, you gotta think Kanye is a modern day Renaissance man when it comes to being an artist. He is a fantastic artist when it comes to not just written words, not just spoken word, not just like production, not just as a beat maker, but he actually can draw. He is actually a fashion designer. He is actually the person that made it cool to wear your pants above your waist. Okay, like the straight leg jeans movement. That wasn't what American Eagle and Hollister and all those companies were doing, or Aeropostale, and they were doing bootcut jeans because that was what was popular at the time. It was Kanye West that made it cool to wear straight leg skinny jeans. It was Kanye West that made it cool to wear polos. The reason that Ralph Lauren polos blew up to the degree that they have thus far is because of Kanye West. The reason, the reason that we're wearing joggers, the leather joggers or the sweatpants joggers, that was Kanye's original idea that he actually gave to Louis Vuitton. And guess what happened? They told him it was stupid. They told him it was worthless. And they took it from him, which he's still jaded because of. That was actually part of what Yeezus was about. And if people once again consider him a selfish person, they think he's very self-centered, and it's actually the opposite. Kanye West stays out of the spotlight, and if you notice, what happened? What was that Taylor Swift incident about? They say he's self-centered. So why did he jump up? Not to say necessarily that Taylor Swift didn't deserve it. It wasn't an award that he was competing for, but he went to go defend Beyonce because at his core, which is something that none of us realized at the time, minority artists were getting discriminated against. They were getting cheated against. Even Kendrick Lamar covered this right after he sold out the next year, but he covered it in one of his songs. I want to say it was called Nigga. I actually think that's what the song was called, or Fuck the Grammys. It was one of the two. But then he actually went and performed in the Grammys the next year. But he was mad that he didn't win an award. Drake touched on it a little bit, but Macklemore actually touched on it heavily because he won an award that he knew should have probably went to Drake or Kendrick Lamar that year because they both released tremendous pieces. And Macklemore admitted that he was given favoritism because he was a white rapper with, in his audience, is kind of like the least common denominator, as in the most sellable audience. And Kanye, so when Kanye jumped up, it was to defend Beyonce. Unfortunately for Kanye, he's not an orator, and his music is good because he can pre-write it and organize his thoughts over an extremely extended period of time, over a beat line and 808, if you will, that he creates. And so for him, that's his way of being an orator. He's not a philosopher, or he is, but once again, in his own right, on his own terms. This is no different from the Renaissance men back in the day. Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, even Socrates to a degree. You can go down Leonardo DiCaprio. Raphael, all of them were considered crazy. You all do know this, right? They weren't liked people. They were liked after they were dead. In fact, the Impressionists, which that's the style of art that Victor Van Gogh uses or paints. He was considered a quote unquote Renaissance man as well, very talented guy. But these type of people were not liked, and the Impressionists specifically were kept out of the Louvre until after all of them died. So Kanye tends to stand out from the norm. I think that we can all acknowledge this. Right? Okay. So, but to consider him selfish and saying that's what he's thinking about, that's wrong. Now, moving on to why this applies to the whole Trump thing. If you all recall, we had a black president who was a Democrat from Chicago at a time where Chicago became the worst city as far as per capita murders in the country. And Kanye went to try and deal with this a lot. Him and Chance the Rapper and other conscious rappers from that area did their best, but there's only so much you can do when there's a lack of opportunity. On the other side of that, who else do they have in charge right now, actually? Rahm Emanuel, who is also a Democrat, who is continue to win, despite what we've seen in the past with how he deals with the school system there, the South Side community, the murder rate, taking essentially getting bribed to push the private prison system. There's a guy there named Jamal Green. Some of you may follow him or like his page on Facebook. A good kid, extremely intelligent, very driven for his age. I've had a pleasure speaking to him a couple of times. The guy's trying to start a recreational center. All he asked for was $20,000 from the city, and he would take care of all of the rest. He was trying to get kids off the street. Rahm Emanuel denied him, didn't even give him a reason why. Right after approving, $1 million project for the more luxurious side of Chicago. Rahm Emanuel is a Democrat. Chicago's ran by corrupt Democrats. So have you ever thought, and you do know that, once again, Obama was from Chicago. This is Kanye's home. That's where his heart is. And he saw his home ran into the ground, probably in the worst shape of his life. And it was through 8 years of Democrats. So do you think that it is at all possible that Kanye West could be jaded by the fact that his home was pretty much thrown into the ground, no matter what he did, no matter what any other of the activists or the conscious rappers have tried to do, but his home was thrown into the ground by establishment Democrats? You ever think that that could be it? Because what I mean to say by this is we all assume like that, oh, he's black, he's conscious, he should be a Democrat. I think Kanye just likes Trump because he pisses the mainstream off. I think that's why he likes Trump. I also think that they're both rich, so they know each other, and he probably knows another level of Trump that we are not familiar with. And when it gets personal, you like people sometimes, even though they're not. I couldn't really see myself liking Trump, but Kanye is a different being, okay? But my point is, there's more in what's not said than what is said. Kanye didn't even say he liked Trump's policies. Kanye didn't say that he liked what Trump has done so far. He just wore a hat, actually, which is interesting. It's all he did. He actually did say, however, literally a long time ago, during the election, during the primaries, that he liked Trump because he spoke his mind and that he was challenging the status quo. Funny enough, guess how much news that got? Less than Kanye saying that he was going to run for president in 2020. But that's because we didn't think Trump was a threat at that point. Because the establishment was still laughing at Donald Trump when Kanye first admitted that he had liked him. But now it's different. It's different now because they like Donald, or they think he's going to win. And the last thing they want is for a Hollywood celebrity with a massive following, at 26 million followers he had, saying that he supports Donald Trump and being black and being noted, rightfully so, as a conscious rapper. Now, if you think that the situation in Chicago has no implications on what Kanye West said, and you think Kanye West isn't being targeted specifically because of his status, because of his gravitas, if you will, then you're mistaken. Because even Chance the Rapper, who is also considered a conscious rapper, some of you may know him as the rapper who actually caused, I think it was a 72-hour ceasefire in Chicago to try and talk it out between rival gangs. Chance the Rapper came out and tweeted, "Not every black person has to be a Democrat." But Chance the Rapper wasn't attacked anywhere nearly as much, if at all. The mainstream media hasn't even actually discussed Chance the Rapper's response to Kanye West's tweet. He's from Chicago. He is a rapper. He's very influential amongst the youth, especially amongst troubled youth in the inner city. And Chance the Rapper, after Kanye West tweeted that, after he lost 9 million followers, 8 million followers, whatever number it was, Chance the Rapper said, not every black person has to be a Democrat. You know why? Because Chance the Rapper is also from Chicago, and he's seen firsthand what establishment Democrats have done. He's seen what Rahm Emanuel has done. He's seen what Barack Obama has not done for his city. And so he is saying, I totally understand why Kanye West may want to separate himself from that party and from the people who represent it. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Because Kanye West was attacked just vehemently. Oh my God. It was, like I said, do I believe that he actually lost 8 to 9 million followers? No, because his 8 to 9 million followers that were already following him knew where he stood on the Trump issue during the election. We know how Kanye is. I don't listen to Kanye for politics. But we knew where he stood on the Trump issue. But he tweets out a hat, and all of a sudden, he loses 9 million followers. Okay, Twitter, I'm going to buy that. I don't buy that. Especially, like I said, I know at least 3 of my followers, not including myself, told me that they were forcibly removed from Kanye's Twitter. So was I. But if you all recall, and this is breaks my heart every time I talk about it, but Jay-Z, Beyonce, Big Sean, several other rap artists not only backed Hillary, but advocated for her, and it was for money. To make it even worse, which actually is sad, in my opinion. Several pop stars, actors and actresses alike, all backed Hillary. Where did the backlash come from? Did you all, other than the super progressives and then the right that just hates pretty much anything Hollywood, outside of maybe Clint Eastwood and Ronald Reagan, but in all seriousness, did you hear any backlash come from hip-hop artists, the same artists that are bashing Kanye? The same artists that were silent when Jay-Z, Big Sean, Beyonce endorsed and performed at Hillary's little fundraiser, when Katy Perry endorsed her, when Sarah, what's her name? Sarah Silverman endorsed. There's no backlash. Amy Schumer endorsed her. Do y'all know what Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton are responsible for, people? Do I need to go down the list? And I'm speaking, if you want to talk about the world, that's easy enough. Let's just talk about with black people. Tougher on crime than George H.W. Bush. That was how Bill Clinton ran. Tougher on crime. Knowing that the crime wave or the war on drugs was a facade, knowing that it was a total failure, he was tougher on crime, and crime raised significantly. Remember, bring these super predators to heel. Do you know, have you ever used the word heel when you're talking to your kids? When you're walking down the street and they get away from you, like, heel, little Samuel. Nah, you don't use that, right? Anybody? You ever told your kid to heel? You know who I tell heel? And I don't even say it because I love him too much and I look at him like a human in my family. I used to tell my dog to heel, but I felt like I was dehumanizing him. Sorry. Even though he's not a human, but you get my point. I love my puppy. But people tell dogs to heel. You bring animals to heel. Hillary Clinton, because people get mad about the super predator comment. I still get mad about the heel comment. You don't bring human beings to heel. You bring your dog to heel. We want to talk about the fact that Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton are the reason that there is a Confederate Flag Day in Arkansas. Yes, that was them. They started it. You want to talk about the time that Black Lives Matter, the two or three young women from Black Lives Matter came in to confront Hillary Clinton? And what did she do? She threw them out like garbage. Looked like Uncle Phil throwing out DJ Jazzy Jeff in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Whoo! Totally ignored them. Where was the backlash? What I mean to say is that hypocrisy runs rampant in this pop culture world of social media. What? So if Kanye West says, I like Donald Trump or his policies, instead of engaging with him, instead of asking him, well, why would you support him? Like, legitimately, not in an abrasive way. Because now I'm curious. I don't ever assume, well, sometimes I do. But if it's like somebody who's willing to risk their platform for it, I'm like, why would you support this person or this policy? You ever think that Kanye may give us an answer? This is Kanye. He gives answers all the time. Nobody actually delved deeper into why he would support Donald Trump. And he didn't support, by the way, he didn't support Obama and he didn't support Bush. So it's likely that he supports Trump merely based off the fact that he's an outsider. But even with that, there's some value if you're willing to engage in that discussion, because it lets you know that somebody from one of the most troubled cities in the country, who's seen the direct results of the establishment neglecting what these cities need to succeed, but then still putting them in a position to fail on purpose so they can profit from it. He's seen the result of what the establishment has to offer as far as the solutions are concerned for cities like that. Mind you, Donald Trump was the first one who said we don't want to just worry about prosecuting these people. We want to make sure that when they get out, they can stay out and we can rehabilitate them. You know, he's the only president who's ever said that. And I don't even like Trump as a person, but I'm thinking about it from Kanye West's perspective, because no one seems to understand why Donald Trump won still. Because there is a Kanye West, there's a silent majority out there. There's a reason that Donald Trump got more support from African Americans than Mitt Romney did. And Mitt Romney was about as middle of the damn fence as you can get. Instead of lambasting him I've been listening to neoliberal diatribe about, oh, he's just egotistical, he's just selfish. It couldn't have been any other reason but these ad hominem attacks that were lobbed at Kanye. It couldn't have been any other reason but he's an egotist. He's mentally unstable. It's Kim Kardashian's fault that he likes Donald Trump, even though I'm sure Kim Kardashian doesn't give a damn about politics. It doesn't affect her pockets. Do y'all get what I'm saying? They dismiss the actual effect that Donald Trump's promises have had on America. I'm not talking about whether he carried them out or not. That's a different conversation. But they did the same thing to the Rust Belt. That was essentially lost to us because of NAFTA. That was implemented by the Democrats who were supposedly pro-union that killed one of the largest union industries. And when he said he's going to bring those jobs back to America, guess what? You think they cared about race or equal rights for marriage or the public education system, university prep, maybe healthcare because they were a union, so that also helped. But do you think they cared about any of that other stuff? What Trump said about Mexicans, whenever those people who don't know what they're going to do with the rest of their lives heard, we'll bring jobs back to America. That's all they heard. So they voted for Trump because that was their number one issue. So if I'm a successful rapper from Chicago with a platform, am I going to use that to elevate someone like Hillary Clinton? Did Chance the Rapper do that? And he's probably the second most well-known rapper from Chicago at this point. No. There's not a coincidence. Black woke people from Chicago harshly critique the Democrats on a regular basis, people. So there is some value in what Kanye West has done, but always the conversation is hijacked and they say, well, we have to make people, we got to silence people on this. We don't want them to engage in conversation because then they may ask, well, Kanye, why don't you like the Democrats? But Hillary and Bill Clinton have done far worse for black people. Oh, I mean, if we're going to be 100% honest, Trump said some nasty stuff, right? Okay, like, I can admit that. I don't like a lot of the things that Trump has said regarding race, nor do I like the fact that he's enabled some people in a lot of ways to feel more empowered about their racist ideals. But the reality of the situation is, and I still feel this way like 2 years later almost, or a year and a half since he's been elected, but 2 years total since he's been talking like this. New York is still going to be New York. Alabama is still going to be Alabama. California is still going to be California. Washington's still going to be Washington. Florida's still going to be Florida. And the reality of it is, racism didn't start with Donald Trump's. Bad health care did not start with Donald Trump. Segregation will not begin with Donald Trump. Actually, like, reinstating segregation is not going to happen under Donald Trump. Equal rights for marriage will not be suspended under Donald Trump because he isn't what people want to claim him to be. He is not Hitler. Like, he's just not. He can be an idiot, but he's not Hitler. He can be egotist, but he's not Hitler. He can be prejudiced and discriminatory, but he's not Hitler. He can be a misogynist, but he is not Hitler. Now, let's be very clear, though. Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton were horrific for black people. They are still horrific for black people because you have all of these black establishment media personalities, politicians that are putting on their cape for the Clintons, telling our people to get behind the Clintons, knowing what the Clintons have done to our people. You got the Donna Brazils of the world getting behind the Clintons after she openly admits that the Democratic Party and the Clinton, establishment pretty much tells black people, wait your turn, we'll call you when it's your time. And instead of calling that out from the beginning and doing the right thing, that's what did she do instead? You know what she did instead. Donald Trump has not done 1/100th of the bad deeds that the Clintons have done to black people. He has not done 1/100th of anything that the Clintons have been personally responsible for. You want to talk about racism and white supremacy? Do we really want to look at Haiti? Do we really want to look at Honduras? I mean, like, really? If the sole reason that you're going to hate Kanye West for putting on a Donald Trump hat is because Donald Trump said some ignorant things, and yet you're the one talking about, well, at least LBJ passed, signed the 13th, 14th, and 15th amendments. He signed them. He didn't fucking want them. LBJ used the N-word every 5 sentences. So, I mean, let's be very, very clear about something, people. For black people, a president being racist is probably on the last check block on whether or not we'll vote for them. And that's so fucking sad but it's the truth. I mean, look at our choices for like the last 8 presidents. We had Bush, Nixon, Reagan, LBJ, JFK, and then Obama, Trump. I think I'm missing one. Are we counting Ford? I guess we can kind of count them. But my point is, we had pretty much every president except for 2 were pretty racist, or at least passed pretty racist policies. And then when Obama comes in office, I'm not saying that he needed to pass pro-black policies, throw up his fist in the air and scream Black Panther. But what I am saying, I'm not even saying that he had it, because remember, during his campaign, actually Obama never mentioned the fact that he was black, and nobody actually caught that. So there are a lot of people who say that Obama was racist. He hated white people. He was race baiting. Obama didn't even use the word black males until like his last year in office, people. He was actually scared to approach that topic because he didn't know how to have that conversation because he's a little sensitive. Obama he's not really built to be a leader, actually, if I'm being honest with you. I have my own rationality behind that. But he wasn't built to be a leader. He was scared to talk about black on black issues, white on black issues. He talked about police brutality, but he didn't talk about it in the scope of the racial side of it until the very end of his campaign. Trust me, I've looked. Because people used to get mad about it. But he never actually addressed substantively any of the issues that black people were dealing with in this country. Income inequality is worst. It's worse than it's ever been. So if income inequality is worse, black people get paid less on average for the same job. Black women specifically get paid less on average than everybody else. And income inequality has gotten worse. Wouldn't that mean that black people overall got the shaft on that one? The stock market might have did well. You know how many black people own stocks? It's like 4 or 5% of the black population. So we only make up 12% of the country. It's like only 4 or 5% of the entire black population owns stock. And I think that's actually way, way higher. I think it's closer to like 2 to 3%. Own stock significant enough to actually influence anything or anybody? Less than 1%. So black people have been We haven't been necessarily better off under Obama, unless you were in the military. No, actually, even in that case, a lot of black people got kicked out of the army because once I don't know if y'all know this, but believe it or not, prejudice of all forms exists in the military as well. And unfortunately, black people are most likely to get court-martialed, most likely to be UCMJ'd, and most likely to be chaptered out because we don't have anybody that goes to bat for us in higher level positions because those are not really reserved for us either. So it was the reason that Colin Powell pretty much had to pretend to be a conservative his entire career. And even he called his party racist on national television. So, but my point is, we were even getting kicked out of the military at higher rates under Obama. So one of our few abilities to equalize the game, which is the military, was even taken from us to a degree. And that was all under Obama. While Kanye West was there, watching it. Like, what the hell? Do you know what Kanye West said he wanted to do during the Obama era? One of the reasons that he wanted to start his own fashion clothing line, like his own personal clothing line. One, y'all people will say, oh, he charged $800. Or one of those shoes was like $2,000. The first set of Yeezys under Nike was like $2,000 or something like that. Guess what, people? Do you know why he left Nike? Because he didn't want his shoes to be $2,000, but he didn't have control over that. One of the reasons that he went to Adidas, and you notice that once he went to Adidas, the price of his shoes came down significantly. That's not a coincidence. Kanye West said he wanted to be the first trillionaire so that he can give equal job opportunity to blacks and people who have been marginalized by the music industry and by the fashion industry. Because he understands, like, for example, like how independent journalists have to compete with CNN, MSNBC, and all the conglomerates, not only just viewership wise, but countering their narrative and then them using their audience and their pull with the establishment and the elites to slap down our narratives. The fashion industry and the music industry is no different. The establishment runs rapid in every aspect of media. That's why a lot of us don't watch the Grammys, the Oscars, because any of the Academy Awards, because we know those shows aren't about who won, it's about who they want to win, because they are the most profitable going forward for everybody else, and their audience reaches the least common denominator. So Kanye West left Nike because of them overcharging for his shoe. He wanted people to be able to afford it. He still, every single person overcharges for any shoe that they have, by the way. I'm just going to be honest about that. But he brought the price down significantly, people. His shoes are cheaper than Jordan's, I'll tell you that. But, so Kanye West is conscious of how being a part of that Democratic plantation can damage minorities and has damaged minorities. Now, on the other side of that, before people say he's gone all Republican, that's not true, because he doesn't like Republicans. He's very open about that. So, once again, it comes down to, okay, so what makes Donald Trump special? Because he's outside of the establishment, and that's it. That's it. And when you're at least outside of that norm, Kanye West is much more likely to support you. He's been like that with his artists, the artists that he signed. If you want to talk about Big Sean was not your average rapper when he came out. He was extreme. He still is extremely talented. John Legend, in case you don't know, John Legend is one of Kanye West's artists. He is signed to Good Music. 2 Chainz was very unique in a lot of different ways. Still very popular artist. I don't know if he's still signed with Good Music, but I do know that he's a very popular artist. And Kanye West signing him to Good Music was the reason that he blew up. Oh, I know y'all know Kid Cudi before he got strung out on drugs was extremely unique as well. Kanye West as a producer is extremely so like he likes people who fall out of that normal that on the spectrum of normal. He doesn't like you being inside of it. He wants you being on the right side or the outside. He even signed Pusha T, who is a drug dealing rapper, and was pretty open that he still did it. Like he was joking. He said, "My record sales are not as much as theirs, but we still got the same cars and we still got the same clothes. And I'm just keeping y'all on y'all toes." And it's because he's a drug dealer, and he was pretty open about it. He's the president of good music now, so I'm hoping he turned a new leaf. But he was still a drug dealer. So Kanye West likes people who fall outside of the spectrum of normal. Donald Trump fits that to the T. So if you're a progressive or on the left, critiquing Donald or Kanye West because of a hat, because of a support for a guy who was only going to be in office for 3 years, or really, he's probably going to win again if Tulsi or Bernie doesn't win. But if y'all are critiquing him for that, but y'all weren't up in arms when Jay-Z and Beyonce and Big Sean and all these other rappers that I'm fond of. I love Jay-Z's music. I love his messages in his music, and I love Big Sean and his positive messages in his music. But Beyonce doesn't write any of her own music, so I don't know if I can say I like her messages. But I like some of the messages that some of her writers write for her, I guess. I have a lot of respect for what she's done for the movement for women in the industry. I do have respect for that. And as much respect as I have for them, I was pissed when they decided to perform for Hillary Clinton's fundraiser. And I was even more pissed when I found out the reason why, which was strictly because of money. So it's like you sell your people out knowing what this woman has done, knowing what her husband has done, knowing that she not only shows no remorse for it, but she stands by those decisions. Like I said, people, you don't bring people to heal. You bring your dog to heal. You've never used that word to describe calming a child down or rehabilitating a child or a former gangster. You've never used that word. But she used it to describe us because she wanted the world to view us as animals. Why do you say that? She called us super predators. So if you didn't critique them, but you decide to just, Kanye, he's crazy, he's an egotist, he's out of his mind, he listened to his music. Yeah, Kanye West's music can be cocky like every other rapper, but Kanye West's music also is extremely conscious. Kanye West's music, people hated Yeezus, but that was one of his best albums. Because he spends Yeezus, he literally spends all of Yeezus calling out the establishment. And so, guess what album got downplayed? That album that called out the establishment the most, calling out Louis Vuitton for stealing his ideas, calling out the president for not following through, and other politicians for not following through, calling out corrupt businessmen. Jay-Z had to call out Spotify and Apple Music because they were trying to pretend like Tidal was a failure. But because Tidal was a threat, that's why they did that. And Tidal was owned by a black male. So, and Jay-Z, no less, who is in the, as far as his business world is concerned, is a sharp business mind. And Kanye West, as reactionary as he is, it doesn't look for attention for himself. Kanye West is an empath. And oh, by the way, interesting fact about Kanye, you all know that he got his doctorate from University of Chicago, or the School of Arts in Chicago. He got his doctorate because of his discography, because he produces his own music, he raps on his own music, he makes the beats for his own music. He edits the vocals for his own music. It's all Kanye. And then everything that he's done for everybody else is insane. But he has the ability to actually see music notes. The music notes and different sounds actually come up as different colors. I can't remember what it's called. Somebody probably knows. So if you know exactly what I'm talking about, let me know. But what I'm saying is that Kanye is an empath. Everything y'all think, y'all like, oh, it's about Kanye. Kanye's just so selfish. And his tweets the last few days, yes, Kanye West is a PhD, Netta. Kanye West is a PhD, and they used his discography, his total discography, which consists of multiple platinum albums, multiple platinum records for other people that he produced. That's his total discography was what they used as his doctoral thesis. But yeah, anyway, he's an empath, and every time Kanye has come out and spoke publicly, like I said, when we look at the Taylor Swift incident, he was actually saying that Beyonce deserved the award. It wasn't about him. Interesting. Whenever he was tweeting these last few days, he was telling people, don't let anybody take your creativity. Don't let anybody co-opt or change your message. Don't let anybody corrupt you or your ability to think freely. Those were all inspirational tweets about other people from his personal experiences. Kanye West, as much as people want to talk, he's selfish. All he cares about is money. All he cares about is himself. He's actually talked about building a business, teaching other people how to do what he does, and say he wanted to be the first trillionaire so he can employ minorities. That's the only reason he wants to be a trillionaire. He has more than enough money. But people leave that out because Kanye West is one of those few minds in the establishment world, or at least has gotten famous in the establishment world, that refuses to toe the line and stay in his place. And what are y'all gonna say? Kanye doesn't care about black people? Ooh, don't do that. Well, I can play about 15 tracks or 15 albums. Not literally 15. I don't think he has 15 albums. But he has more than enough songs that show otherwise. So he didn't cape for the establishment left, but he did cape for a change of the status quo, and that's a much more. The message is much more palatable. It's more palpable, and it resonates with not just y'all think it's only Trump supporters, but like I said, which people are still not talking about. Chance the Rapper came out and pretty much supported him, saying all black people don't have to be Democrats. Okay, nobody attacked Chance the Rapper. Why? Because he's not Kanye. Kanye they can pick on. Kanye they can say, oh, if you like Trump, he's crazy. So if that means Trump and Kanye are both crazy. That's why they like each other. They're both egotistical. That's why they like each other. No. Kanye has been jaded by decades of Democrats destroying his home in Chicago by watching the first black president come in and seemingly make things worse for black people specifically. At the very least, he didn't do anything. Rahm Emanuel has actively assisted in destroying his home. He is a Democrat. The county commissioners have actually destroyed his home. Commissioners, they pay for these projects. Or they approve the pay, I should say. Every time someone tries to step up in Chicago, build a recreation center, build a park, do something for these kids, the Democrats are the ones who shut them down, not Donald Trump or the Republicans. That's not me advocating for the Republicans, but I'm saying, you know why. You should understand why Kanye West and Chance the Rapper and other artists from that area all feel the same way about the establishment Dems. So thank you all so much for watching. We're going to take a little break and then come back, and we're going to talk about Joy Ann Reid. That should be fun. So with that being said, always remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.